What is going on, everyone? My name is Jackie Bob Pearson, and if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm glad you made it. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Today, I want to chat about investor and investment terminology. I recently did a video, I'll link it in the cards, about if it was good or bad to work and partner with investors. But I started to think about it, and if you are brand spanking new to the industry, a lot of what I said probably went right over your head. And so today I want to get very granular and just go over the basic vocabulary that you might hear if you're talking to or planning to talk to an investor, just so that you can speak their language. So let's get into it. My name is Jackie Bob Pearson. All right, I hope you've got your pen and paper handy. I'm only going to do 15 terms today. And then if you guys want more, drop a note in the comments. I'm happy to dive a little bit deeper, but I wanted to start with just 15. I definitely don't want to overwhelm anyone. So write them down and just kind of refer back to them every now and then. Again, if you're brand new, this is a good place to learn. My channel is dedicated to helping out brand new agents that just want a little bit of extra support, guidance, tips, tricks, and strategy. So let's get into it. Investor and investment terminology. The first one that I want to talk about is the landlord. So landlord is the owner of a piece of property, a piece of real estate. That could be land, a commercial building, an apartment building, or a single family home. But they have ownership in real property, and they have decided to rent or lease it out to someone else. That other person is the tenant. So the tenant is someone who occupies a space, pays a fee to dwell in that space, and their payments go to the landlord. The tenant has no ownership rights, and normally they sign an agreement to occupy the space for a specific amount of time. Think about someone that lives in an apartment that signs a 1-year lease. They're going to pay the landlord, occupy that space for a small period of time, and then they're free to walk away without having any penalties or fees. Those are your tenants. The reason I wanted to start with landlord and tenants is because there is something called buy and hold. It's a strategy that investors will use. We've seen TV shows like Flip or Flop and things of that nature where folks are buying things, flipping, rehabbing, and then turning around and selling it for a profit. Buy and hold is almost the exact opposite. That is when an investor will purchase a piece of property, they buy it, but then they decide to hold on to it. There could be a number of reasons as to why they want to hold it. Oftentimes, it's because they think that that piece of property might be worth a lot more in 1, 2, 5, 10 years' time. So they want to buy it right now at a great price, maybe fix it up if it needs it, and then rent it out. And again, it can be a piece of land, an apartment, or a single family home. But they've decided to purchase that piece of real estate property, hold on to it for a year or more, and then sell it off later in the future. So when you're talking to an investor, it's not a bad idea to ask, what is your strategy? Or is it on a case-by-case basis? Do you buy and hold, or do you fix and flip? So we've all heard the term flipping. If you've watched HGTV in the last couple of years, you have seen more than enough flipping. That is when an investor decides to buy a property that's distressed, maybe needs a little bit of fine tuning or a lot. They put their money into it and then sell it at a higher price point. So a good example would be buying a distressed property for $100,000, putting about $50,000 into the rehab, whether that's buying a new roof or updating electrical and plumbing, maybe even some foundation issues. Things that typically scare people away from buying the house, that's what investors go after. So normally if you're fixing and flipping, there's going to be some big ticket problems. You fix those problems, you put maybe, like I said, $50,000 into it. So now you're all in at $150,000. But if you could sell that house for $225,000, well, that's a $75,000 difference. And after fees and, closing cost, an investor could walk away with $50,000. Not a bad strategy. So flippers, normally their strategy is to get in and get out as fast as they can before the market shifts. Before they'll buy that property at $100,000, they've already run the numbers or sought after a real estate agent to run the numbers, and they know that comps, other homes, are selling for about $225,000. So before the market shifts or other properties go on sale that are less, they want to buy that property, fix it as fast as they can, and sell it while the market is agreeing to a sales price of $225,000. Complete opposite of a buy and hold investor who wants to hold on to it for as long as possible. A flipper wants to get in and get out, sometimes in under 30 days. Now, one might ask, where do these investors find these distressed properties? Sometimes they purchase them from a wholesaler. I've often heard them called bird dogs as well, but essentially that is the middleman of an investment transaction. A wholesaler will go out and find these distressed deals. They spend all of their time, energy, and money into finding off-market properties. While they're doing that, they're out connecting with investors so that when they find this property, they can negotiate a deal with the investor. Now, there's a misconception that you have to have a ton of money to become a real estate investor. And let me tell you, that is wrong. There is something out there called hard money. Hard money is something that a lot of real estate investors use even if they have cash in their bank accounts. Hard money is essentially money that you borrow from another bank or lender, and the fees are going to be a little bit higher, but most of the time investors don't mind if the strategy is to flip it, because you're only going to hold on to that house for a month, maybe two after closing and the real estate transaction. So hard money is banks, private lenders, people that are willing to say, I will give you $100,000, but the interest on it is going to be higher than if you went to a traditional bank. You might have to have some skin in the game. They might require a down payment. Some might do a credit check. Some may want to verify funds to show that you can pay it back. If you do your homework and research, you can find hard money lenders that will let you borrow money to buy a house and have terms that are short with repayments at 3 months, 6 months, or a year. And this will allow anybody that really wants to get into investing an opportunity to try. The fees are higher, but understanding hard money versus using your own personal cash is something that you're going to want to understand if you plan on working with investors.